everyone, my name is Ana Castillo and welcome to our video report on technical access requirements for Peruvian export to the United States. In today's globalized marketplace, having a high-quality product is not enough. International buyers, especially in markets like the United States, demand strict compliance with technical regulations to ensure food safety and consistency. These access requirements are crucial for companies that want to expand abroad. They include sanitary standards, certifications, labeling rules, and inspection procedures. For Peruvian garlic exporters, this means following a specific path just to have the opportunity to compete. That's why we chose to analyze Peruvian garlic exports to the United States, a country with high demand but also one of the strictest regulatory systems. In this report, we have three main objectives. First, to identify the technical access requirements for exporting garlic to the United States. Second, to research key standards accreditation bodies and competent authorities in both countries. And the third one is to provide actionable recommendations to help companies gain and maintain market access. Now the objectives are clear, let's move on to an overview of the main technical requirements that companies need to comply with.
What are the access requirements? Access requirements are all conditions a country imposes for a product to legally enter its market. It's not just about paying taxes or having paperwork. It also includes compliance with health, safety, labeling, and quality standards. Why are they important? Their importance is based on ensuring consumer safety, environmental protection, and trade transparency. In addition, if you don't comply with them, your shipment could be rejected at customs, fined, or even returned. Also, complying with these requirements generates trust in the market and improves your company's reputation. Access requirements are divided into tariff measures and non-tariff measures. In this video, we will focus on non-tariff measures. The most important non-tariff measures are sanitary measures. Their objective is to protect human health. Then phytosanitary measures with their objectives to protect animal and plant health. And technical barriers to trade with their objectives is to guarantee product quality, safety, and transparency. One of the most important mandatory requirements to export ginger to the United States is the phytosanitary certificate. This document is required by the APIs of the USDA in the USA. As shown in this slide with step-by-step imagine, the general flow is first application to SENASA through the BUSE systems, then file verification of the sanitary status of the crop, then sanitary authorization of the packing plant, next adequate transport conditions, and then inspection prior to shipment, and finally issuance of phytosanitary certificate. Another mandatory requirement is the packing plant certificate. This is a sanitary authorization used by SENASA for facilities where agricultural products such as ginger are washed, sorted, packed, or processed. This certificate guarantees that the plant meets hygienic, safety, and traceability requirements required by the United States. The requirements for obtaining the packing plant certificate according to SENASA are first describe report of the company only if this is the first time, include information on areas, process, and flows. Second is plant plan. process flow chart, which must be detailed for each product. Finally, application for sanitary and certification for treatment and packet plants. This process is carried out through the BUSE. Another requirement, as in the table, is the maximum residue limit, which is the maximum permitted amount of pesticide or agrochemical residue that ginger can have without posing a risk to human health. Another requirement is wooden packaging, such as pallets, which are most commonly used to facilitate transport. This packaging must be treated and marked according to ISPM 15 to prevent the spread of pests. It's mandatory for entry into the United States.
I'm going to talk about some important standards and certification you should know if you're exporting ginger to the US. So let's start with Peru, the country of origin. First, the NTP ISO certificate is issued in Peru by accredited certification bodies such as SGS, Icontech, Peru Veritas, or INACAL, that is Peru National Institute for Quality. So INACAL is the official entity responsible for standardization and accrediting certifiers in the country. This certification ensures compliance with international ISO standards adapted to the Peruvian Technical Standards (NTP). It's not mandatory, but it helps you to maintain quality and also look more professional. Then we have the Fair Trade Certified, issued by Fairtrade US. This is a voluntary certification, but it adds a lot of value. It shows that you protect, support workers' rights, the environment, and ethical trade. Many international buyers like this because it proves you care about quality and responsibility, but it only applies to products sold in the United States and Canada. Another case certification is the Global Gap. It's issued by accredited certifiers such as Control Union, SGS, or NSF, authorized by the Global Gap organization. This certification ensures compliance with good agricultural practices, that is GAP, focus on food safety, environmental sustainability, and worker welfare. Now, in the US, organic certification is very important. If you want to sell your ginger as organic, you need the USDA organic certification. This means your product follows all the rules of the National Organic Program, that is NOP, and it has to be inspected and certified by a company approved by the US Department of Agriculture like EcoCert, Kiwa, or Control Union. Once approved, you can use the official USDA organic seal, which helps you to sell your product to premium markets. There are also security certifications that are not required but is very helpful. For example, the first is CTPAT, the Customs Trade Partnership Against Terrorism. It's issued directly by the US Customs and Border Protection, CBP. This certification is voluntary, but if you join, your goods are seen as lower risk, which can mean faster customs clearance. Then there's BASC, the Business Alliance for Secure Commerce. It's not a US government agency, but an international non-profit organization that promotes security in trade. BASC certification is recognized across Latin America and by US importers. In Peru, they operate under BASC Peru, accredited by the World BASC Organization. There are some differences and similarities between the certification that I mentioned. In Peru, certifications like NTP, Fairtrade, and Global Gap focus on quality, safety, and sustainability in farming. In the US, the focus is more organic production rules and security at the border, like CTPAT and BASC. Both countries use third-party certification bodies like Kiwa and Control Union, and in both cases, certifications are voluntary, but they help you to stand out in a competitive market and give buyers more confidence.
So in this part, I will talk about official authorities in Peru and the US that oversee food safety and agriculture exports. In Peru, the main authority is SENASA. It's a public agency under the Ministry of Agriculture. This authority checks and certifies that fruits and vegetables and other products are safe from pests and disease. And they also help control pests using natural methods like biological controllers. Peru also has the HESA, which sets microbiological and safety standards for all food and drinks. And these rules make sure products are clean and safe for people to eat. So, in the opposite, for the United States, one important agency is APHIS, which belongs to the US Department of Agriculture. APHIS inspects fruits and vegetables that come from other countries like Peru to make sure that they don't bring in pests or harmful disease. Most of these products are checked at port when they arrive, so sometimes they do physical exams or take samples to be sure that products meet safety rules. And another key agency is the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA checks that imported and local food doesn't have too much pesticide, and these limits are set by another agency called the EPA. So continue with the FDA, if they find food with too many chemicals, it can reject or remove those products from the market.
Hi, I'm Romina and I will summarize our findings and present recommendations. Through this research, we found out that exporting Peruvian ginger to the United States is a process that demands high standards of quality, safety, and traceability across the supply chain. Our key findings are that there are strict product quality requirements, that the ginger must be whole, firm, clean, and free from abnormal moisture. Also, it must be dried properly after washing it, and post-harvest treatment to ensure it can withstand long transportation and arrive in a satisfactory condition. About the uniformity in the presentation, each batch must be consistent in origin, variety, and quality. Then we have the standards and certification as competitive advantages. We have the GAP, that stands for Good Agricultural Practice, that are highly recommended, although not mandatory, as they reduce agrochemical use, protect the environment, and safeguard both worker and consumer health. Then we have that the companies benefit greatly from obtaining certifications such as Fair Trade, BASC, that stands for Business Alliance for Secure Commerce, demonstrating a strong commitment to quality, safety, and traceability across the supply chain. Then we have the alignment with the US regulation and oversight. Authorities like SENASA here in Peru and APHIS and the FDA in the USA collaborate closely to verify that the ginger meets the required phytosanitary and food safety standards, making inspection and the entry smoother. And saying that, our recommendation to the exporters are that they should invest in the certification mentioned before to build trust, gain competitive advantages, and ensure compliance through the supply chain. Also, maintaining rigorous post-harvest practices to minimize the pest and moisture issues, preserving quality upon arrival. And finally, investing in training and capacity building for farmers and exporters, ensuring deep understanding of application of the US most important requirement and global best practices. And now the conclusions. It is important to ensure that the Peruvian ginger meet the technical, quality, and safety standards of the US market. It is important for its long-term positioning and their competitive advantage. Obtaining globally recognized certifications and working closely with authorities so Peruvian companies can solidify its role as a trusted supplier of high-quality, safe, and sustainable ginger, benefiting the agricultural sector and strengthening its economic growth. We hope that this report helps Peruvian garlic exporters to take confident steps toward international success. And remember, compliance is not a barrier, it's a passport to the global market. Thank you for watching.